Right now, the price of gaming consoles keeps going up, and for a lot of people, that makes it harder and harder to actually afford one. So instead of spending a huge amount of money on a console, I decided to take a different approach. I spent $500 to build my own gaming PC, and I'm turning it into a compact SteamOS gaming machine. Now, of course, if you prefer Windows, you can absolutely install it. My goal with this build is simple. Make it small enough to sit comfortably in the living room, hook it up to a big TV, and use it just like a console. It's more than capable of handling 1080p gaming, and in some older titles, even 1440p is completely playable. So now let's take a closer look at the parts I used to build this machine. For this build, I'm using one of my all-time favorite AMD CPU, the Ryzen 5 3600. This is a chip that almost everyone in the budget PC community knows about. It delivers excellent performance for the price, and has been a go-to choice for affordable gaming builds for years. And today, I'm bringing it back once again. One of the main reasons the Ryzen 5 3600 became so popular is its 6 cores and 12 threads, which allow it to handle both gaming and multitasking very smoothly. Thanks to the Zen 2 architecture, it still performs surprisingly well in many modern titles. Right now, you can find it for around $70, which makes it an incredible value. However, if you're willing to spend about $20 more, you could step up to the Ryzen 5 5600, which features the newer Zen 3 architecture and higher IPC. That would give you a noticeable performance bump. But for this build, I'm sticking with the 3600 to keep the budget under control. Next up is the motherboard. Mini ITX motherboards from major brands are currently very expensive, sometimes unreasonably so. That's why I decided to look into OEM alternatives. The board I'm using here is the JG INYUEB 450 I plus ARGB. It's a well-known brand in the Chinese market focusing on affordable mainstream boards. And honestly, I'm pretty impressed with the design. It comes with all the essential connectivity options you'd expect, and visually it doesn't look far behind higher-end boards. Compared to other OEM boards I've used before, this one feels much more refined. For example, it includes 2 M2 slots, and the front M2 slot is cleverly positioned above the chipset heatsink, a smart design choice that helps save space on a compact ITX board. On top of that, it even includes a Wi-Fi module, which is a big advantage for a board in this price range. Now let's talk about RAM. At the moment, RAM prices are still sitting at a high point, which makes choosing the right kit a bit challenging. If you're trying to save money, I would recommend going for non-RGB, no heatsink models, since performance differences are usually minimal. Most modern games now require at least 16 gigabytes of RAM for smooth gameplay. To give this build a bit more personality, I decided to spend a little extra on the RAM this time. I went with a 16 gigabyte XPGD DR4 kit running at 3200 megahertz, which I picked up for $75 on eBay. Next comes storage. With many modern games taking up a huge amount of space, I decided to go with a 1 terabyte drive, this time to make sure I have enough room. To maximize loading speeds, I chose an NVMe SSD, specifically the Kingston NV 31 terabyte, which I bought for $63. Of course, if you're trying to cut costs even further, you could go with a SATA SSD instead. You'll sacrifice some speed, but for gaming alone, the difference isn't always dramatic. To cool the CPU, I'll be using AMD's stock cooler. Honestly, AMD's stock coolers are surprisingly capable. For a chip like the Ryzen 5 3600, it's more than enough for stock operation. So for now, I can confidently stick with it and save a bit of money. Next, we need a power supply. Technically, a 500 watt unit would be sufficient for this build, but luckily I found a 600 watt power supply for a very reasonable price, just $45. This is the FS-PMS 600, and it features a semi-modular cable design, which makes cable management much cleaner and easier during installation. Having a bit of extra headroom in wattage also gives us more flexibility for future upgrades. Now we get to the most important part of this build, the GPU. Since I'll be installing SteamOS, I've decided to go with an AMD graphics card. AMD uses open source drivers, which tend to work much better with Linux-based systems like SteamOS. To properly balance performance with the Ryzen 5 3600, I chose the RX 6600. This is a very popular choice for mid-range gaming builds, and for good reason. It offers excellent 1080p performance, and with its 32 megabytes infinity cache, it helps boost gaming efficiency significantly. Of course, stepping up to something like an RX 6700 XT would give even better performance, but that would push the total cost much higher. So to keep things reasonable, I picked up the RX 6600 for $140. Now comes something just as important as performance, the case. I needed a case that could properly fit a dual fan RX 6600. And honestly, small form factor cases are more expensive than I expected. Eventually, I found one for $80. It's called the Metal Fish, and it features a spine-style layout, meaning the motherboard sits on one side and the GPU sits on the other. Because of that layout, I had to purchase a separate PCIe riser cable to connect the GPU from one side to the other. That cable cost me an additional $29. So altogether, this build came out to roughly $550. Before installing everything into the case, I decided to test the components on an open bench first, just to make sure everything works. Thankfully, it powered on without any issues. After assembling everything inside the case, the build is finally complete. Now it's time for the final step, installing SteamOS. I've already prepared a bootable USB drive with the operating system installed. I'll plug it into the system, and it should automatically boot into SteamOS. And now, it's time to see what this machine can really do. Let's start with CS2. I'm playing at 1080p on medium settings. At this configuration, FPS consistently stays above 100 frames per second. Even during intense firefights with lots of effects on screen, performance remains stable. That said, if you prefer a more consistent experience, you can always cap the frame rate at 60 frames per second for even better stability. Next up is Cyberpunk 2077, and honestly, I was impressed. I'm running it at 1080p on low settings, and FPS stays comfortably above 60 FPS. In less demanding scenes, it even climbs past 70 frames per second. The gameplay feels smooth and responsive, which is surprising considering how demanding this title can be. Now let's move on to Tomb Raider. This time I'm playing at 1080p on ultimate settings. At these settings, frames per second ranges between 180 and 200 frames per second. In more demanding scenes with heavier effects, it dips slightly to around 160 frames per second, but it never feels unstable. To be fair, Tomb Raider is very well optimized, so it's not surprising that the experience here is excellent. Next, let's test something heavier, The Witcher 3. I'm running it at 1080p on medium settings. Here, frames per second hovers around 60 frames per second. Even during combat sequences, performance remains steady with no noticeable frame drops or input lag. However, to maintain that level of performance, the GPU is running at nearly full load. And finally, let's try Black Myth Wukong. This is considered a very demanding title, so I'm playing at 1080p on low settings. Surprisingly, FPS ranges between 90 and 100 frames per second, which is honestly better than I expected. Even during combat, performance remains stable without major fluctuations. Overall, I think a build like this running SteamOS is a great option for a lot of people. It's not super cheap, but considering current PC part prices, even used, I'd say it's still a reasonable deal. And if you want to save more money, you can always choose a cheaper case and keep the same performance. That's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one.